Jesus has given you, and really all of humanity, the Sabbath as a day of rest. You see, there is a blessing in the Sabbath. He comes close to us in a special way on the Sabbath to change us into His image. It is His purpose, promise, and design that we might be like Him, full of the compassion and power of Jesus Christ. He will fill up your heart with compassion for the suffering and the needy ones. This is August 15, and I'm Pastor Virgil Koval, and this is Power to Serve Today, a daily devotional podcast with a mission to help Christians grow. Our topic today, do good on the Sabbath, and our text comes from Matthew 12:12. It is lawful to do good on the Sabbath. The fourth commandment tells us that the Sabbath is dedicated to rest and religious worship. All secular employment is to be suspended. But works of mercy and benevolence were in accordance with the purpose of the Lord. They were not to be limited by time or place. To relieve the afflicted, to comfort the sorrowing, is a labor of love that honors God on His holy day. The necessities of life must be attended to, the sick must be cared for, the wants of the needy must be supplied. We must not neglect to relieve suffering on the Sabbath. God's holy rest day was made for man, and acts of mercy are in perfect harmony with its intent. God does not desire His creatures to suffer an hour's pain that may be relieved upon the Sabbath or any other day. The Sabbath is not intended to be a period of useless activity. The law forbids secular labor on the Lord's day, the Sabbath. The toil that gains a livelihood must cease. No labor for worldly pleasure or profit is lawful on that day. But as God ceased His labor of creating and rested on the Sabbath and blessed it, so may man leave the occupations of his daily life and devote those sacred hours to healthful rest, to worship, and to holy deeds. The work of Christ in healing the sick was in perfect accord with the law. It honored the Sabbath. Labor to relieve the suffering was pronounced by our Savior a work of mercy and no violation of the Sabbath. The needs of suffering humanity are never to be neglected. The Savior, by His example, has shown us that it is right to relieve suffering on the Sabbath. Our promise today comes from Colossians 3, verse 12. Therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, put on tender mercies, kindness, humility, meekness, and long-suffering. This is Pastor Virgil Koval reminding you of the true spirit and intent of the Lord's Day, the Sabbath, the seventh day of the week.